Welcome to the Language of Markets live sessions. It is the 29th of July. Welcome back. Hey, Gina. All right, welcome back from the weekend, everybody. It's Manic Monday, although the market's looking a little lackluster. Just kind of got that weird grind to it, I can tell. Live sessions are better than dead sessions. There we go, Gina. We're going to use that as a tagline. Live. We don't want it dead. So markets are a little lackluster, right? So I went and thought about the calendar, what date it was, and saw gold rolled over. It's like, ooh, this is Fed week, isn't it? This is Fed week. JPY week too, right? Yeah. All right, so we'll keep an eye, see if the markets want to get active. The flow usually gets a little just kind of dead until the decision's made. It works up to the week, and then we'll just see what happens. If it gets active, it gets active, but we'll just follow what's there. Hey, Phil, where you been? Good to see you. So it's Fed week. Oh, I'm sorry. Yeah, family. We all get family things. Mom in hospice. Yeah, we all get family things. My heart goes out to you and her. It's tough. Yeah, it's life. Ain't none of us going to escape alive, right? Yeah, this is trading, but we have to live life. So we wish you well. Yeah. All right, well, it's good to see you here, Phil. We'll see what we can learn today. And we were watching the gold. Gold rolled over to a new contract. Got a little funky, and so we're still watching the gold swing. I have a topic I want to start out with today. So we've been kind of putting focus on things for the week, right? Hey, Grace. Hey, Rita. So I have a topic I want to start out with today. We've been every week. I like to maybe think about something for the week. You know, just put some attention on it, and then we'll jump into trading. So this week, what I'd like to think about is, because I see this a lot, and it really comes into play with trading. Okay, so I see this all the time when it comes to trading, and it has to do with what swing we're after, what objective we're after, what we're after when we're trading. So I'm just going to talk briefly about this today. You know, there's a simple, hey, Rita. Yeah, love and light to Phil, I agree. And anybody going through, we all go through some things, right? And so let's put some attention on objectives here. There's a simple formula to realize, or, you know, to get something going. And that's basically to ask ourselves, what are we after? What is available? And then how to get it. I'm going to show you how this shows up in our trading. All right? I'm going to show you some of the ways this shows up. It's very simple, right? What are you after? I mean, if you don't have some sort of direction, some sort of purpose, you know, you're going to kind of wander. And it's the same thing with a trade. You know, if you're trading, looking at 10 swings, what are you after? Are you after a few ticks? Are you after a big swing? What are you after? Because you're liable to just get what you get. And the thing about once we set an objective like that, it starts to determine how we see things. So everything will be encountered through that. So if I was in here, say, just to capture a few ticks, there's certain things I'm going to ignore and certain things I'm not going to ignore. If I was in here to capture a swing, there's certain things I'm going to ignore and certain things I'm not going to ignore. And so this becomes kind of important when we're trading, right? What are we after? I just say, what swing are you after? Right? Am I after this swing? Okay, I could be. If I'm looking at this much data, and remember, I'm not telling you how much data you're supposed to look at. If I'm looking at this much data and I'm trading this swing, see, there's certain things I'm going to pay attention to. I'm going to pay attention to this wave. I'm going to pay attention to other swings that are, say, the minors that are, say, related to this. And so if I look at a chart and say, I want to trade this swing, I want to trade this wave, and what I'm talking about, I want you to begin to see in your own trading, right? I want to trade, I'm either right or I'm wrong. I want to trade this wave. And then there's certain things I'm going to see and certain things I'm really not going to see. If I'm trading that wave, I'm not going to be too worried about, I don't know, something really little in here, like this little gap and this little swing breaking. I'm not going to be too worried about that. It's really not going to enter into my consciousness if I'm trading that swing. If I'm trading this, say, gap, okay, if I'm trading this gap and I'm looking at this market, I'll see, oh, we got back through. So then I'll be thinking, okay, let me resell it back here on the tail. And so now I'm trading, this swing, or maybe this whole thing. And it's going to drive me to see what I need to see. Once I decide what I'm trading, okay, that's what I'm trading, right? I'm trading for new lows somehow. It's the same thing if you're a runner, right? If you run. If you decide you're going to take up running, be a runner. Are you going to run marathons or are you going to sprint, right? You're going to train a certain way for each one of those and pretty much not pay attention to other things. Yeah, the beliefs push us off center like I'm after long, but before something that works. Yeah, because we kind of lose track. And so, Edward, it always helps to remind us. So whatever we do, whatever actions we do that are under this, need to serve what we're after. What's available is the resources, right? I got my tools, I got my swings, I got my account, I got how the market moves. How to get it is sort of a plan, but everything serves the what I'm after part. This is a much bigger conversation, but what I see people doing a lot is they're looking at this swing, and then they're looking at this swing, and then they're looking at this gap, and then they're looking at that one, and whatever seems to fit the thing for the moment, we just kind of end up all over the place. Nate says it can't just be a Forrest Gump, that thing, right? You mean whatever you get? In some ways, yes, but in some ways, no, right? He just ran, right? He just ran. Yeah, he didn't know where he was going, right? He just ran. You can try that. But in trading, you're going to throw everything at the wall. He also didn't care. He was just running. But in trading, you're going to throw everything at the wall, and you're going to get confused. Am I after this swing, this one, that one, this one, that one? Then how are you ever going to measure yourself or swings or anything else with how you're doing? Now, I get it. We want to get some sort of assurance in life. And we keep throwing things, and we think the more things we throw. But look at your own trading. There's lots of ways to trade. I don't tell anybody how to trade. I tell you how to map a market, right? How do you map a market? I tell everybody how to map a market. I tell everybody how to look at gaps. We teach the language of price, right? There's a gap, there's a zoom, there's a gap. We're right there. We have boom, boom. If I'm a scalper, watch. If I'm a scalper, okay, or if I just want to make a few bucks or I just want to arm wrestle a little money out of the market, I'm going to kind of watch here, right? I'm going to see a level. That's not hard. See, now I'm ignoring that whole swing. See, there's no one way to make money. There's lots of ways. But if I'm just here to make a few bucks, zoom. Okay, I see a little chance in here. I see that we just, swapped. I see it. I see it right here on the bars. See, we just swapped. I see, you know what? I can get myself in. A lot of us have gotten that far. Oh, I can get myself in. Same thing with here, right? There's a tail. I can get myself in. A lot of us have gotten this far, but now what? Right? So this objective also has something to do with targets. Am I playing this swing? Well, guess what? If I'm playing that swing, okay, I've made my money here. I got a new high. It made a new swing. Yeehaw, I'm done. That's not bad money, right? That's not horrible money. If I'm playing something bigger, then I'm playing that swing. And so it'll begin to frame what we see. And if we just see too much, we're going to get in trouble. So I'm just starting in on this subject. I might talk a little more about it. But this week, just put attention on what swing you're after, what you're after with a trade, what you're after with your trading. Otherwise, you can kind of wander and throw everything at the wall and get a little lost and tend to ignore other things. But if you're looking at this swing, and then this swing, and then this swing, and then this swing, and then this zoom, you know what? This little zoom might have nothing to do with this whole swing here. Nothing. It's a good subject. Been trying to figure it out myself, Gary says. And thank you guys for participating. I appreciate you guys that come in here and babble this out. This is a really good one. I talk about this one-on-one with people. Because a lot of times we're not really clear about what we're up to. We're just going to try different things that either might get us an entry or so on and so forth. So it is a very good subject. I'm not bringing it out very well right now, but hey, it's a start. You have me covered. I'm babbling, right, Edward? All right. So there's lots of ways to trade. It's a way of evading responsibility. Yeah, Gina, I would agree with that. So it's a deliberate way to confuse yourself too, right? And then you overwhelm. Yes. And so the ticket is to sort of see this in your own trading. That's not working, so I'll try this one. That's not, so I'll try this one. I'm a swing trader, right? So I can trade this little swing, okay? If I'm trading this swing, then you know what? I'm in. I'm trading this swing for a new high somehow. I'm a swing trader. If I'm trading, another swing, maybe I'm trading this swing, I'm in for a new, that's a swing. A swing is a swing is a swing is a swing. And you can put a median line on any swing you want, really. If I'm trading in here this swing, it made a new high, all right? If I got in here and I looked at this guy, I said, oh, it didn't reach the median line, but that's a nice little pullback right in my neighborhood, and I got this thing bumping, and I draw a median line. It made a new high. It made a new swing. But if I enter here and, I have ideas of up here for something, I'm doing something different. Now, we all have a different rhythm. Some of us want to be in and out a little faster. Some of us want a bigger swing. Hey, Rebecca, that's all right. Just talk about paying attention to what swing we're trading and just sort of asking that question and how that helps us with a direction, at least what we're going to look at, because one thing will design the next thing. It'll design what we see. All right, so now let's do a little work. I just want to put attention on that a little bit. We're gonna try and finish out some of our reference stuff today, but there is something I would like to cover. See, that's why I break things down: major swing, minor swing, and bar level. So if you guys remember, on Friday we did a little doohickey about how to mark gaps outside bars, etc. Right? A wide range bar bigger than the last 3 bars. So we did a little thing about how to mark bars on simple gaps. And I just want to open it up, very briefly, right? We didn't talk much about it. We just sort of did a how to mark them. And I talked just a little bit about, contraction, expansion, and how they're very good markers, like our press structure. They're very good markers. So I want to expand on this a little bit, because this is probably, once you decide what swing you're trading and all of that good stuff, right? So let's say, we've been watching this market. It's going down. So now we're in the Earl market. It just changed its mind, right? So you see, I'm thinking in swings. So when I'm thinking in swings, I'm thinking we tried and we made a new high. Okay. So I'm going to bring this up because there are some new people. And one of the simplest, say, confirmation methods we can use on a bar level, right? Let's say we're getting into some territory down here where we're thinking about possibly getting long, okay? And our very simplest confirmation entry will have something like this. It'll be some form, and they come in several forms, of a gap swap. Meaning, right, we've zoomed up and then we zoom back. It'll be some form of a gap swap, and then we'll look at that in where this little guy is in relation to the big swing. So what I'm doing here is I'm saying we're swinging, and I'm saying somewhere in here there's going to be some kind of pivot, and it's got to show up some way. And I'm saying using some form of a gap swap is a good way to help build us a stop and find our way into these little kind of entries. So I'm just going to do this really quick since it came up this morning. So we're looking at the oil market. I'm looking at swings. I'm watching the market come down. I'm thinking, oh boy, I draw median line set. I'm wondering. The oil market has been a little bit dull, so I'm not too excited. And so something like this really shows me that area of a pivot, right? See the zooming? We don't have a good one on this side, but something really shows me, right? See the zooming? Shows me that little box. And it often comes in just a few little swings or bar level press or some sort of gap. See the gap? Zoom back through and retest. It comes in some form like that. So let's look at this morning. Just want to light up an example. And same thing, you're just following swings down. Swings like a press. Not a beautiful one, but we get a nice expansion. But what I want you to see here is the gaps. The gaps are what I want to pay attention to. Okay? Gap, right? See the space here? See, it doesn't just grind up. See the space? There's a beautiful little, let's take this out the way. There's a beautiful little gap. And then see the other gap here? So this shows us something, right? This showed we gapped up, failed to make a new high, and really gapped back through it. So this becomes an area of interest. Now this is at the bottom of the swing rather than at the top of the swing. It's a little bit different, but we're still, once you learn how to identify gaps, we can begin to see this. So you watch. And it's always nice when they come up here and they test it, right? Type 1 trade. See the zoom? There's a zoom here. It's very, very, very clear. And here you get a feel for it. So something like this, I see a new high. I'm thinking possible this part right here. Not messing around with that zoom down. Yeah, so I'm thinking possible, right? And, you know, it's a bit steep, you know, we could do that. Either one works. I know where my last swing is. Zoom, right? Do you guys see the ripping their head back off with the stupid 3-gap attacks? Right? So this is one variation. I'm just going to call it an alley-oop. It cleans the book out pretty good, right? It cleans the book out. So we have 3 gaps in this case. 1 up, 1 down, and 1 back through. And what happens next? Boom, new high. So everybody gets something went on here. I've been avoiding the oil market because it's been, look at it, you know, But you look at this, it's just clear as day. And here we can work our swing work too. And so anyways, my point being, especially to new people, the easiest confirmation, and we'll do extended lessons on this, the easiest confirmation for pivot, right, is a gap swap. And what that would look like on a bottom pivot would be, you know, price. Let's just draw it, right? What that would look like on a bottom pivot is price stalls someplace. Gaps. Right? We can define that. Comes back through. Rips back through. And so that's probably the easiest thing we can use to say confirm we're actually making a decent pivot. You know, this becomes its own swing high, like so. And so this little swap lets us build a stop and all that good stuff. So especially for anybody who's new, I just wanted to do that, you know, advance on Friday's little gap lesson. So this is one of the utilities of that. And this one's a little different because it goes up first, down, and then up. But you see the gap, 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 new high. It becomes a very good place to see a pivot. Now, as it's going, we can work the same thing, but it's a little bit different, right? So remember the instructions. You see a gap, you're going to mark the upper third. Now we have a gap swap. Notice it's not bleeding through it. It's swapping. So now we have a gap swap, except it's not at this pivot. It's at the top. It's a little bit different. It's part of this whole swing. But it still becomes a very good reference point, especially if you're managing stops. And if you're managing stops, stops can become an entry. And it's something you can always follow in real time. All right, so I just wanted to talk about that a little bit. So a little gap swap. So much for heavy in the gold, right? Looks like they're going to push up through us. So we're going to have to reset ourselves into gold for sure. All right, one more thing. I'm going to do a comparison. Plus, we need to look at a daily stock here, or a weekly stock. We haven't been to our weekly stocks in a while. And I have one that's on my mind. Now, notice when I come to a chart, the only thing I'm after is making money. And they say, how am I going to do that? All right. Well, I'm going to structure a market in swing so I can begin to see it. I'm going to work through it. I'm going to get a connection to the market. Then I'm going to decide what swing I'm trading. So here we are on everybody's favorite Netflix. It's a weekly Netflix, right? It's a weekly Netflix. Been rolling, right? It's been going pretty good. This also is going to relate a little bit to gaps. So I'm going to look at this market in swings. And I'm just going to start with what I have, right? See, no matter what my chart, that's my major on the way up. So do you see how that starts to orient me? That's my major on the way up. Okay, that's my major on the way up. There's nothing, these are all small. Now everybody, this is going to relate, we're going to work into relative gaps too. This is going to relate to relative gaps. Everybody should see price is traveling along like this. Right? We got a line. And then it really lifts. This is the break point. Just like that. Okay? It's like a gap. Contraction, expansion. This is the break point. All right, so if we follow this market in swings, one thing we can learn. So let's follow this market because we're going to follow this market right into possible trades. So this is a for real thing. I'm going to be trading this guy. We know we've beat that swing. Okay, we know we've beat that swing. If you want to look at gaps, you know, we can look at the biggest gap. And what I usually do with this is go bar by bar. Now, we talked a bit about Friday on the kind of things we're going to look for. Tails, we define them. Outside bars, we define them. Gaps, we define them. And we hard up, hard down. And so we talked about how to mark those things. So as I walk through this chart to get a connection to that, I don't know what swing I'm trading yet. I got to get over to the right side first. I'm just going to go bar by bar to get a feel for the buyers and sellers because it's telling a story. I want to get the story, right? It's a language. I'm really serious about this being a language. You know, even if you go back, some of you guys read Adam Smith, right? He talks about a little bit about the origins of speech, writing, and how it reflects. This is a language. It's the language of money. There's a lot behind the scenes in supply and demand and everything else, but this is the language of price here. This is the part we can see. So let's read price. Let's read its story. See if we can get a handle on it. And how are we going to do that? We're going to use swings. We're going to use some of the price actions that we've seen. Some things that stick out, right? Outside bar. Remember, I'm not jumping the gun on this. Outside bar. So the way to mark an outside bar is just grab the middle. Remember, this is a weekly chart. So I can learn something about my outside bar. See this tail? This is going to qualify. It's big. Closes in the bottom. We scouted up here. We ran into the outside bar. We ran into somebody who put their money down here. See, this swing was trying. Right? It's still trying, and it's running into a little bit of problem there. So the lines will help us get the story. So this swing's trying. So I'm doing my work on this chart with you guys. And zoom. So we see this is true. It's not made up. Somebody showed up. We made ourselves a little bitty swing. We can see price tell the story. They started over here to start to run into that. We see a tail. It's not a wide range bar tail. Neither is this one. So they're just all kind of the same here. We see a hard down. So we watch. We see little swings. We see a hard up. See, automatically, zoom. You know, what got zoomed? If I'm a scalper right now, I'm thinking about buying this. I don't know where it's going to go, but if I'm a scalper, I'm thinking about buying this. At least I see the flow changing, right? I see the little swing changing. They're not going to let me buy it. Very excited. We know we got peoples over here. How do we know? Just from a particular price action. Now understand me, we're doing presses right now, but these things can help us get a point. It's where something really happens, supply demand wise. All right, so now we're testing the back side of that line. Now we're grinding up. I have no idea what price is going to do. But I do have a swing, don't I? Don't I have a last swing broke? You guys see it? It's literally the last swing broke. How do I know that? Because I know that this was the only swing on the way up. All right, so this becomes, see, little swing. This becomes all of a sudden my major swing. Yes, sir, right? Okay. I can project. I can project in a very simple way like this. I can project in a very simple way like this. See, it's trying to do the same thing as my center line. All right. This is like Andrew's first chart. You know, he says when you do that, it means this run is, you know, looking to be done. Look back up here. Although it's kind of scary to sell Netflix, isn't it? Chart's the chart. All right, so let's keep following this guy because it's going to lead into something. No zoom. Here we go. These are weeks and weeks and zoom. Okay. So you see this structure created this structure. This outside bar created that tail. this tail created these guys giving out over here. And see, it's all about the same level. So they got something going on with this 360, 370 level. And current. All right. Just so you know, I do this trade quite a bit. This first pullback, like so. That looks something like this. Okay? I do that trade quite a bit. And do you know what I often use for target for something like this? And you guys can practice this. So we're actually seeing a pattern and learning something about the evolution of some of these patterns and swings. So I'll do this trade. I can almost write this up. New low projected from the LSB, measured move from A to B. I could do that, Adam, but I can very simply, like with lines, see, this is the wheel. The LSB is the wheel. And so I can almost write this up as a setup. And we might. I'll do that for a target. Okay? Or I might get a little bit chintzy or scared and do that. I don't know. But I'll follow this line for a target. So backside of that, boom, boom to that. So now we're starting to get into line work a little bit. All right, so now that's live. I'm not done yet. Let's clean this up a little bit. I want everybody to sort of tell me I don't know, you get a feel for this pattern? What would a median line off that swing look like? You mean a new one, Rita? Well, the original median line right here will look like this. A modified shift, see if I turn the modified shift, will look like that particular line. Or a new one, a brand new one, is going to, you're going to either go out here or go to the width. It's going to look like that for a target. And you see it'll often do the same kind of things. But if I'm watching this live, before I ever get here, I'm doing this. Thinking about that down there. So I'm just following it. But take a look at this pattern here. Now, we're going to come back to that because we're going to name it something. We're going to come back to that. Let's work the ES from Sunday up to live. So we can work this up to live. Let's work the ES. So now this is the ES, a recent ES S&P E-mini that we're going to work from Sunday. We're going to work this up to live. So let's follow this market a little bit. Where's Friday? So Friday was the 20th. Sunday was the 28th, right? Sunday was the 28th. Is that right? Yeah, Sunday was the 28th. Okay. Do you guys see the straight up here? And then the swing. We have two swings, actually. Like that. All right, good. So we have two swings. They're really close. We have two swings. All right, so this is Sunday. Boom, boom. So let's follow this guy from Sunday and watch. Because this is the work I do as I'm getting ready to trade. So if I'm following this guy from Sunday, I'm watching. All right, I see this thing switch. I'm watching these tails. I see a zoom. So something switches and swaps right here. I could mark this zoom. Right? It's a gap. See, it stands out. Right? It's different. It stands out. I can see it retest the zoom. I can see it make a swing. I can see this tail. Right? Everybody get a feel. Swing, try, pull back. Swing, try, pull back. Gap. So I'm not even really worried about that anymore. I got a gap. Tried, gap, heading down. Test the gap, swing. I'm going to get curious. I'm going to go like this. Fish around, go like this. Say, okay. It's a bit of a press, but it never zooms the press, right? So it doesn't count. So it is a press, but it never zooms it, never holds it. Do you guys feel me on that? This is our pattern. But remember, our pattern needs to also come with, okay, we're going to think about a type 1, but it never really zooms, holds, zooms, no, it just kind of bleeds. So it's nothing at this point. Watch that little swing in new high. All right, do you guys see that this is not that different than Netflix? Do you see it? Same. Describe it to me. One of you guys describe it to me. You know, we got to build our library. These little things I'm doing is me just following price. You know, if I'm a scalper, I'm long, I get a new high, I'm out, I got my money. If I'm a swing trader, I'm short, I got my money. So this one, the only difference in this one and Netflix, it doesn't really give me a try here. Right? It doesn't really give me a try here. You know, maybe it's like that. I can draw a median line set. And the median line set does pretty good, right? So the median line is doing a better job than my center line. Okay. So a minor mountain possibly breaking into a bigger mountain. Good. I like that. But let's think about this trade-wise, because this is something I play. It's something I want, one of these things I want us to learn to recognize over time. So in Netflix, we saw where it's at currently. It came off of this neighborhood right here. And Netflix did this. It's right here. Okay, that's where Netflix is. It did that. Do you remember what I said? If I get short this guy, right, where my target is, I'm going to turn the wheel like that. I'm just trying to jostle us a little bit here. To be able to see regardless of time frame. Okay, so this is Netflix. This is this. Hey, give me back my Netflix. Oh, bummer. Get back over here. Give me back my Netflix. All right. So we can see here is the LSB. We can see here, we can call that, say, right, the first pullback, right, the first pullback. And if you notice, this will often come with some sort of line that's going to catch, like that. We'll make these guys red. This stuff's kind of exciting when you start to see some things that are going on in the market. And here is the mountain. A little bit of an insight into how an ABC comes together. But good, Nate, it is an ABC, right? We haven't done those in a while. It's just simple ABC pullback. All right, ABC. Simple ABC pullback within the context of what? Nate, go a little farther because we have to start working this. It's an ABC pullback within, and then see how it makes a little bit of sense. So if I draw a model here, and this is related to those gaps. If I draw a little model here, I'm going to have contraction, contraction, expansion, expansion. A turn up here. A turn up here, right? Let's make this a little deeper so it all matches a little better. All right, so it is like a little ABC pullback, ABC. So it's going to be, it's not the perfect model, but it's not bad. It's going to be this minor pullback inside of this big gap here. Okay? And it comes with target, and it comes with place to possibly do a type 1, all of that. And there's generally a good reason about this first pullback not being a bad place to sell, right? Because if you've got a gap, all right, remember, a gap, there's nobody. People think there's a lot of volume in this. There's not a lot of volume. If you watch, there's just a few one-lotters chasing it, right? Everybody's stacked up in here. This is the meat of the move. This whole thing here is the meat of the move. And a gap is just sort of empty vacuum space. There's not. So on the way down, who's going to defend it? The one-lotter? The one-lotter who bought the breakout? You think he's going to be in here buying this to defend his position? No. So it makes a little bit of a sense from a supply-demand perspective. When you have a gap, it's a lot of empty in there. It's a lot of free-flowing without resistance. That's what effortless, that's what a gap is. It's free-flowing. See, it's without resistance. And so in the middle of the gap, there's nothing there. Who's going to support that? Who's going to defend that position? Who liked that buy there? These guys might over here, but they're not in the gap. And so that's why this first pullback, it's a little bit of an empty air. It's just a guess whether they're, really juiced up for this market or not. Okay, so that's current. All right, so you can start to see what that looks like and a possible trade to come back through that empty air. Now, this is either going to be a bump and a rollover or, brand new let's rock and roll here. We don't know yet. We don't know yet. So this is a nice, pretty little pattern here that gives you a quickie opportunity to study because it's very distinct. It's very easy to see. We can see it. And we're actually watching it unfold live in Netflix right now. So we'll see. Obviously, if they're juiced for this market, they'll pick it up. They'll pick it up. But this is where they threw him off the cliff. And this is where they threw him off the cliff. A lot of emptiness in between. And so that's kind of what happens with an ABC pullback. The first pickers hit it, and boom. And so you don't need to do anything with this right now, but now that you can start to see it, you get an idea. And, in a market that's rolling pretty decent and about the same size swing, you can watch for some action in here. So we'll see what this market is. We'll watch it. It's current. This is not an interesting market to trade right now. These guys are just waiting for the Fed. Just waiting for the Fed to do their thing. All right, so let's get back on our topic here of presses and such. All right, so I just wanted to work on that a little bit. I asked you to look at the CAD daily. I want to set some live things. And by the way, if we're here live, just do some simple swing work. Where are we at? Okay, we're on this side of the median line. We have a little double doohickey here, right? A little double breakout here. Price is struggling. Can you look and see the area they're struggling in? Look for things like gaps. That's it. Your 20-minute charts worked. If you don't like that big line, well, trade the smaller one. All right. Daily. Ooh. What happened? I updated Ensign's. What happened? And Ensign added a reverse direction to our median lines and decided to just go ahead and give it to me. Huh. Okay. Alrighty. Where's my green one? Yep. All right. Now we're back. You got to update it once in a while, Edward. So one of the things I wanted you to see, we've been following this puppy. We've been following this guy quite a bit. All right. So one of the things I wanted you to see on the way down is just mark things out that you know how to mark. It fits. See it? Boom. We have a swing. We have a press. We can watch. We're gauging where a pivot might be. Now we have a marker. We can have a marker. We can watch price. We don't have to do. We're on a pivot level. We have a marker. We can watch price at this pivot and see what might happen here. And you can actually decide from here, do I want to buy it? Do I want to sell it right now? Do a push? Do I want to wait for a telegram here? See, it's not that complicated. You know what? We can work this chart with just this, guys. Just that. This is what I wanted you to do. Just look at that. Let's look at some dailies so we can have stuff to follow live. The pound. They are really giving up in the pound. Can you imagine, right? Just fell off the cliff, right? Can you look at that and imagine what the daily is going to look like? This is sort of a next level practice, but just look at that and imagine what the daily is going to look like. A press, right, Phil? You see the expansion? Let's put it on. All right, let's practice. Let's practice. Tune your eyes for these things. Something like that, right? Boom, boom, expand. We're not there yet. We're there. So don't forget, I want you guys to use this piece of structure to practice. We'll note that it's pressing right through the bottom of a low. Let's look at this chart and see if we can see any others. All right, just scan through it. Do you see any other presses? This is part of the practice. Yeah, the press is in a puke, Gina, right? Think about this press in a puke like this. There's not a lot of, this is a vacuum, right? There's a reason why V's tend to V back up eventually, if they do. You see it at the far left? Okay, so I'm reminding everybody to pick some markets and practice and model them and make their own reference charts. So that's all we're doing here, is doing a little more practice. We got to get the rest of our reference charts out, and then we're going to move on to some other things. But I want to just keep doing some more practice. We want to be able to know the definition, right? That pull back into each other. And then expand. And we can draw the model out here, right? Two relative swings that pull back into each other and then expand. We can come and look. Two relative swings that pull back into each other and then expand. So I'm just going to finish doing my practice and use myself as an example for everybody else. And then when we get done with that, we got to talk a little bit more about the observation phase of this. Because once we can do this, then we want to trigger our learning. Okay? Once we can do that, we want to trigger our learning. First, we want to be able to get how to pick these guys out. Just last year and found some sellers, right? Boom, boom. And we kind of want to start our own little libraries too. You know, okay, this is a type 1. It was doing this. It was, you know, it was coming off of this. It was pulling back, right? I think we did one on this side that looks like it's giving out, but it's a lot of data here. So I think we drew this one in the last presentation. But just look, and then we want to make observations about this thing. And we want to learn to recognize, right? So I'm looking down here and I can see, it just strikes my eye. I can see the bar level. See, I'm pressing it. This is the same as this. See, new low. Through a new low. Everybody see that? Type 3 on the one in November after it made a new low. Here, Raj? Like that? Yes, after it made a new low and ripped back through. Okay, good. And so this is a bar level. Bar level press. Right in here. And that's going to have the same basic definition, except it's going to be at a bar level, and it's going to come with the 3 types of trades. Now, this is a lot of months to hang about and watch, but we still want to learn. So this is actually the subject we were going over on Friday, is you can get these bar level presses. And see, we get this big tail. I mean, if I was just trading for pips here, look at the size of that tail, Adam, right? Does that scream? Hit me for a new swing, right? Look at these. Look at this move here. Does this swing swap? Yeah, it screams, right? It screams. It's a great entry. But what are you going to do with it? Do you want a new high? Okay, that's all good. But it's also a new entry running into a big brother here. But guess what? Sometimes you get these and there's no big brother. So it's good to see this, right? See, this is our price action. Look at the coil here, right? One structure creates this structure, creates this gap, creates this retest here. It's screaming. We are turning up. It's screaming. It's like yelling. It's yelling, yelling. But if we don't know what swing, see, we could be right here live, and it's screaming. Yes, we're going up. But if we don't know what we're after, and we're just playing this in isolation, this is one of those things that one little itty-bitty tiny thing is not more than the sum total of its parts. So remember, this press structure is one thing, and although it can be played as a standalone, this small bar level is part of a pivot, right? The rest of its whole part is a swing. So, there's nothing wrong with this if you take an entry and get out at a new high. But if you take an entry and you're holding out for this, and then you take a stop, you did really well on your entry, but you kind of didn't know what you were after. You kind of mixing and matching. Nice lesson on not giving up because you may have missed a lower high. Yes, exactly. This is one of those This is one of the lessons I learned over and over, Nate, right? Sometimes I got to be in, I got to be in, I got to be in. And then the thing drags on for a little while, holding that level. We can handle this, you know, with some median line work and some time and all that good stuff. But to tell you the truth, sometimes I'll just hit this and leave my stop. But if I hit this and I'm after a new swing, guess what? I got a new swing. See? I can reset. So there's so many ways to trade. Also, don't need to guess at lows, which I fall prey to quite often. You know what, Nate? Me too. One of the things I do, Nate, is I have, and I still do this, I have a half dozen ways to project this press. Right? And we've talked about them in the past. And it's okay. We can play, right? We can play and we can look at that. But you know, it's going to tell you when it wants to turn. There's ways to project that press. There's ways to project that. So this is a pretty good little model here that I think we ought to put in our reference charts. Type 1, push trade. Okay? And this is a bar level press. Type 3. Type 3 reverse trade off the bar level press. Oh, man, don't do that to me. I'm a little slow today. And so don't let these things confuse us, you know, just because we're seeing two different sizes and going two different ways. Take in what you can take in. But you see, I can eliminate most all of the market. And then I can learn from this. And now we have this one live. Type 3 offer to sell on the other side. Oh, very good eye. Thank you, Nate. All right, see, Nate's already making observations. You see the boom, sort of a quickie sell, right? Sort of a quickie in here. Okay. So that comes after, and we have to be a little careful when we flip around these levels too much, but it's a good eye. You see that. But this was still a good type 3 right here. So there's lots to learn with just, right, the only thing I've done was presses. And I formed this chart up. We didn't even look at swings. I'm just looking at presses. We formed this chart up pretty good. And we're understanding, right, this is a press through the low. See, notice what I'm doing here, guys. This is a press through the low, too, through this low. Okay? This related to this low. This related to this low. This press through this low. This press through this low. Okay. I'm just curious whether after we've pressed through this low, if we might do the same thing. I'm just curious. It's bigger. Might need to give it a little room. That feels right too. And so one of the things I'm really trying to do to get across is just get the story with a few simple methods. We're going to be doing other methods here soon. But this is just one press. And maybe you don't have trades all over the place. But this is just one piece of structure that stands out. We're not even looking at gaps and all that. It's just one piece of structure that stands out. And then sometimes you just get, God, this is so obvious. See this? This is picture perfect if you get it in swings that's pulling back maybe. So let's say you get this right here. I'm loading up the truck on something like that. You know, actually it pulls back. I'm praying it comes back. I'm yelling at it. Please hit me. Right? And these are some of the things we can learn just by learning this one little structure. All right, so I'm going to take a shot of this, and we'll put that in our charts for collection. Okay? Put that. Let's look at one more. I had somebody looking at a. Look at that, awesome. I had somebody looking at an odds 480. Let's just do one more little practice. Let your eyes roam the chart. And generally, the bigger is the major. All right, so just let your eyes roam the chart and see what you can see here. This is just practice. I'm just helping us to practice. May, you see it? All right, so the beauty of this structure is price just organizes itself up really, really sweetly. It does. It just organizes itself up beautifully. And so this particular pattern uses the idea of continued behavior. Expand. Expand. See, it's little nuts here, and then it just gets all nice and sweet. Now, when I get one like this, right, I can draw across the tops, but I generally will do something like this. And because that's where it drops from. And let me tell you, when you're practicing with these, the one thing that'll help you decide and learn is come over here and look for the retests. That'll tell you. Look for retests and look for zooms. Okay? Either one will work. Okay? Either one will work. But I'll do it because this whole thing is a press. This whole thing is pressing. So expand, expand. It's very easy to see. And if it makes a new low, it's a successful type 1. And again, we want to learn that it can grind up through here a little bit. It can fool us. It's a sideways action. I see a bar level in the middle. That zooms back through and lands back up in here. And there's a bit of a bar level going on right now that just keeps expanding. So again, during this practice, what we're seeing is the type 1s. So we'll go make a reference chart, maybe Wednesday, for the 2s and 3s and the other type. But we're seeing some type 1s here. This is a type 3 press. This is a we don't know yet. And so now we can begin to understand this market, as we look at it. If you want to take a bigger look, it's kind of funny. Do you guys remember how exciting this was in January? This is the market having a really big Thanksgiving meal and eating everything and the kitchen sink and then throwing apple pie and ice cream on top of it. And then digesting it for the next year. Hey, Grace, small press down at left and then new press up. Small press down at left and then new press up. What did you guys see? This one? I see that. It's a little bit. I don't see the boom. No, the first one I marked. Here. Here. Small press down. Oh, you mean this little guy here? Is that the one? That little guy? I don't know. I might be crazy. Never mind. Just tired of me. All right. Yeah, I don't always see. Yeah, might be a bank error, right? All the markets did something very similar to this come January. I don't know if you guys remember. But they got pretty wild. But this is like redigesting everything. And so, all right, let's just look at the swing here. We got that size. It's close, okay? This is pressing through a low. It's close. I've done this one on the ES. It's close. It's not bad. It went sideways for a little while. It's close. It's not bad. And so now, get a handle on it. This guy is now trying. This guy's trying, but the LSB on the new try, that's a big LSB, huh? This thing did a little LSB here and wiped us out. Now we got a bigger LSB. This whole thing is funky, but I guess it's the LSB, isn't it? I mean, there's no two ways about it, right? So we got to mark it. All right, thank you, guys. Keep me honest. It's the biggest one on the way up, right? From this, it's the biggest one. It's true. Okay, that's interesting. Yeah, we're structuring now, guys. All right. That's interesting. All right, you're getting my interest. So, Grace is seeing a swing, a new high, right? All within this one. So that's kind of interesting right there. All right, Grace, you got my interest piqued. We get ourselves a nice little gap swap or something in here, or something. And who knows, right? Who knows? So we don't know what's going to happen, but we're marking it. So we got swings. We actually got a little bit of complication in here. So let's take this guy out. Let's get rid of that guy. We got a handle that we went down. We went about that length, and now we're trying. And we're trying at the length of this particular LSB. Oy vey. That's interesting. We've been ignoring the Oz a little bit, right? Just wake up and sell it. All right. This is drama. Okay, this is drama. Let's clean this up. Maybe we'll pull off a trade here. So, minor swing, major swing. Minor swing gets beat. Ta-da. We're turned at the major swing. Major swing is now trying. So now at least we have a really good handle on the story of price. And if it's, and you know what? I love this situation right here because everybody's freaked out. So we come up here. We break the minor into the major. Boom. Minor into major into press. That was the sell if you wanted to sell. All right, so everybody got a handle. If you wanted to sell in this guy, you sold the minor breakage. So now we get an idea about, you know, the minors getting busted. You sold the minor into the major with a bar level press. See, this is more interesting than a movie because there's a lot of money to be had in here, okay? Same thing on the way up too, right? Minor into major possibly is too many, right? I'm just going to see that we broke this. So this is a very typical situation to end up with. Now we're back to ABC land, right? Working an ABC up into this. And what I typically do if I'm buying this someplace, or if I'm selling this, see, if I want to sell this ABC, we haven't done this in a while. If I want to sell this ABC, this is one of the ways I'm going to look. I'm going to draw that line to think about selling it. All right, guys, so if we just look at this from a time perspective, okay, that's where we're at. All right, framed up? Not bad? Okay, and we'll put a little marker here so we can watch this guy. Now, I ain't getting too excited over tries in the Aussie. I mean, you're going to have to show me something. But there's a lot of room just to get up to here. And don't sell here, okay? You know, me neither, right? We're not getting to. I mean, the Aussies like beat us into submission when it comes to longs. So, but this is an interesting pattern, okay? And it's very interesting to see what the try does in this kind of a thing. It's a very interesting pattern. So we'll watch it. When I draw this, see the V? When I draw this V, you know, this line comes into play in other areas. Who knows? Maybe there's another sell. We can sell the Aussie down to 0. Don't know. So we have a start. So the 480, we got to track the 480. All right, so I'm going to wrap it up there. I mean, if you want to buy, the stop's very big. Yeah, well, let's look. That's a big stop if you want to buy. But let's do a quickie. Let's look at the volatility on this. Let's just do a quick vol. And what I do when I'm checking stops, right? I'm going to double my volatility out. I generally look at a 34 ATR and I look at a 200 ATR, and I just take the bigger. Okay, so this is a 480, not a daily. So we're looking at, I don't know, somewhere around 30 ticks. That ain't a lot, huh? This thing's kind of dead. I don't know about you guys, but I miss the days when this thing really ran. This thing's kind of dead. So we're looking at stops of at least 60 ticks or so. So Nate, that buys you the bottom, right? That buys you the bottom. Okay. So it's not that big, right? 60 ticks matches our volatility. We're just a little bit scared for the try. So again, guys, get used to seeing your volatility. ATR is a good way to do it. Let me put this on a daily real quick. Or a weekly. The heyday in the Aussie was through here and through here. You guys see what I'm talking about? We're on a weekly. This was the heyday. We loved trading the Aussie. And a lot of you guys were in me with the sessions here where we went into here and I just gave up because it wasn't going nowhere. But this was the heyday. Look at that thing move, right? Look at that thing move. And now look at what we've been dealing with for about 2 years. Look at how, even compared to here, look at how scrunched this guy is. See, except for this bar. Let's just disappear this bar. Look at how scrunched it is. And so the Aussie, it's just got little volatility. Doesn't mean you can't trade it. But on a 20-tick chart, you can't always be going for 100 ticks, 200 ticks. So we'll get a feel for this thing. So it looks like January gapped and set off something in motion. This little itty bitty volatility. All right, so who knows? It'll pick up. Maybe all we'll be talking about is the Aussie eventually. All right, so let's wrap it up there. We got a few things we're looking at. Tomorrow's Fed day, right? Be careful playing in that pool. And I think the yen's doing a rate thing too this week. So markets should start to get interesting this week. Today, tomorrow morning, should start to, or Wednesday. Thank you, Nate. So you guys, thanks. We'll do some models. I wanted to demonstrate a little bit of practice for us, just in seeing these and then making observations. And then we'll go from there, okay? You guys take care. See you on Wednesday.